have I found the right one? He loves me not. And then there's the case of the ex who won't stop calling, won't stop texting, won't stop anything. I'm talking about you. You know yourself. But that's why we've got Dr. Chris Hart in the building. Oh, yeah. We're living out loud with Dr. Chris Hart, and today it's all about surviving the affair. Can your relationship actually make it through? And are there signs that you should look out for at the very beginning of your relationship that will save you the heartache? Let's find out next. Hello and welcome to Sheila Lives Out Loud, and as always we are at Westwood Hotel living out loud with the very good Dr. Chris Hart. It's all about a heart to heart. Remember, you can subscribe to my channel and we do give you an opportunity to interact with a good doctor on the things that matter to you in your role. If you're struggling, you're brokenhearted, they're just things you'd like to know about love and relationships, please visit my Facebook page. It's right there on your screen, and direct message me. Yes, send me a direct message. Tell me what it is you'd like the good doctor to know, and we will sort it out for you. Dr. Harry, it's so lovely to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has.
Or two. But karibu sana, as always, I'm glad to see you. Now, today we're talking about the affair. So let's get straight to the matter. Affairs are not just about physical. When we're talking about an affair, we're talking about so much more than, you were with this person yesterday, why?
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of people don't deliberately go out to have an affair. It just happens. It often starts just people getting a little bit too close at work, things like that. And gradually you find yourself on a little slippery slope until one night you just look in each other's eyes and you know something's changed. And then you're in an affair. So most people find themselves in one just by accident.
Okay.
Is really the truth.
I like how you say that it's just by accident, because let me tell you what I think an accident is. You slip and you trip and you fall. That's an accident. But for some people, right from the get-go, it's not a matter of slip, trip, and there you go. Because you get into a relationship with someone and you want to be committed and you want to make the best of it. But then somewhere down the line, it's no longer just you and this person. There's you and a third person, and you don't even know that they're there. How can that be accidental?
Well, it's worth saying that there are really two sorts of people in the world. There are those whose determination, if you like, is that they're going to be monogamous. They may not succeed, but they'll do their living best. But there are some people who've got no such intention, and one of the most critical decisions you make is right at the beginning of a relationship, when you decide that you're with someone who intends to be monogamous or not. So if you continue a relationship when you've already begun to see things that suggest you're not with someone who's monogamous, then you are heading for a disaster.
Right.
But the other type of situation is the one who, you know, he or she swears their devotion on the wedding day, and they mean it.
Yes.
And then it is an accident. They didn't intend to start an affair. It just slowly developed.
Right. The way I see it, people who know they're going to cheat are most likely not to even want to commit in the first place. They'll play the field a bit longer because they know there's variety. But the oops moments, the ones that are not, planned and intended, are the ones that happen a little more often in the state of relationships today, right?
Yeah, I think that's true. It's worth saying that the sort of person who's likely to cheat is very different from the person who's not likely to. You can tell the difference. You can see it in their behavior, their likes and dislikes, the way they spend their time. If you are with someone who you spend all your time together, you are very good communicators, you spend a lot of time sitting together and communicating about intimate things, and you settle issues between you, that sort of couple doesn't cheat.
Right.
But if you're in a relationship where that is not happening, you're not spending much time together, you are not solving issues as they arise, there's a degree of criticism and resentment and so on beginning to develop, some sort of affair is very, very likely in that
Exactly,
situation.
because there's something that you're not communicating, which goes to show when it comes to relationships, the pillars of relationships include communication. If you're not talking about the big things or the little things, you're both drifting off in different ways and making attachments and having those conversations with others outside of the relationship.
Yes.
And that's where the affection and the closeness and everything begins.
Yes, that's right.
But, carry on.
No, well, I was just going to say there's another thing buried in that word communication. Good relationships, joyful relationships, are marked by complete and open honesty. So if you find, for example, you're going home in the evening and you're already editing your conversation and not bringing certain things up, and so it goes on, then you, again, are very much more likely to have an affair. So the bedrock of a good affair-free relationship is complete honesty, a lot of communication, and sorting out issues as they arise. Issues are inevitable, but if you are constructively dealing with them, chances of an affair, very, very small.
Right. In listening to you talk right now, I can't help but think, if I decided I'm going to go to Mombasa today, from the moment I hit Uhuru Highway, there's a sign that's telling me, there you go, that's the way to Mombasa. And if I don't want to go to Mombasa and I want to go to Kisumu, I don't have to have left the city to know that I need to go this way and I will get to Kisumu. And listening to you talk about communication, the pillars, and you censoring what you're going to say to your partner, those right there should be the signs at the very beginning, right?
I mean, it almost starts before you even meet. If you meet someone in a bar, chances are they drink. If they drink, the chances are they spend a lot of time in bars, and that's not a good idea. But when you start to talk to them, wherever it is you meet, straight away you begin to realize whether or not they're going to be truthful with you. If you, in the first few minutes, begin to realize, I don't feel comfortable telling this person about myself, or I don't feel they're telling me about themselves, if that continues for a few days in the relationship, you still don't know where this person lives, you don't know where they work, yes, those signs are on the wall.
Those are your warning signs, right?
I mean, you might start reasonably well, but a few weeks later you begin to realize, hang on, I don't actually know where this person is this weekend. Who are these friends they're with? I've never seen them. These are all signs that this person is not going to be faithful.
Oh, and here's the big one in the digital age. They won't let me be their Facebook friend.
Quite.
But we're a couple, but I don't know who they're interacting with online.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because of love, because of this thing that makes us float on clouds, and we're like, he called.
All those hormones.
And you wiggle your toes, a lot of logic jumps out of the window. It becomes very easy to ignore the signs because there's traffic on the highway, and so you think, let me take the bypass this way. Next thing you know, you're not going to Mombasa, you're going to Kisumu. It happens. If you find yourself in a relationship where there is dishonesty, either you suspect it or you have seen it, what happens next, Doctor?
The most common scenario is that the victim starts to suspect but can't actually prove it. Now, the most important thing you do at that stage is not to confront. If you confront at the stage where you suspect only, there's a very strong probability that your partner will start denying it. And you'll get into a tight spiral of denies and lies and all the rest of it. And it can get extremely poisonous. In fact, a lot of people say that the denials are worse than the affair.
Right.
So it's actually wise, if you begin to suspect your partner, to just keep quiet and just keep watching and let them believe that they are not being suspected.
Right.
Because then they're more likely to drop the hint or whatever it is that leads you to really discover something. And don't actually confront them until you've got something concrete.
I've got two very real experiences about what you're saying, that in denying it becomes even worse than the lie itself. Once upon a time, there was this man and he was great and I thought he was wonderful, but I found him in a very compromising situation. Yes, that one that you're thinking about. And so he locked himself up with his girlfriend in the bedroom, and I was thinking, you've got to be kidding me. I know you're both in there. I've seen you already. So I left so that you could all arrange yourselves and present yourselves in a more suitable manner. But he comes out and locks the girl in. And he says to me, it's not what you saw. So again, I felt, don't tell me what I didn't see because I already saw what I did see. But in you telling me that my own eyes deceived me, but then again, the signs were there, doctor. I was going to Mombasa, but I was on the bypass to Kisumu. I see that. Second thing I want to say, because of what you've said, is about not confronting somebody and not having the evidence. Don't go and dig up information about somebody if you don't know what you're going to do about that relationship. Because if you find out and you've suspected that, yes, he's cheating on me, and you go out of your way to find out, you've got to have a very serious plan for the outcome.
Yes.
Let's talk about when you have finally got evidence. What
Yes.
do you do?
Okay. Well, quite obviously, when you've got real evidence, you will confront. And it's important to just spill out the evidence, whatever it is, and say, look, I do know now what's going on, so let's you and I talk. The most important thing at that moment is to give the impression that there's not going to be an almighty row, blood on the walls.
All right, so in talking about confrontation, it's not swords, Game of Thrones style.
No, you just have to say, look, we've got ourselves in a mess. Let's start talking about this. You make it feel safe for the guilty party to tell you everything.
Even if you're hurt.
Obviously you're hurt, and obviously inside you can be feeling all manner of emotions. But unfortunately, on the outside, you've got to look calm and reasonable. Because if you don't, then the denials will start. The story will be softened. You'll get some of the details.
You won't get the truth, which is what you really want.
That's right. Because when people come to see me and talk about situations like this, I always say to them that getting past an affair is not about putting the clock back to some Disney princess land. It's actually about starting the whole relationship again on the basis that we know these things can go wrong, and now we're going to talk about them as life really is. So let's start the conversation on the basis that we're going to tell the truth.
The truth. It's wonderful we're talking about the truth, but can they handle the truth, doctor? I've heard it said that in asking questions such as, who was it? What did you do? How did you do? Where did you do? Don't they do more harm than good?
Unfortunately, they are difficult, but they're essential. I mean, until the couple is talking about exactly what happened, just as if it were just a normal conversation, then you can't really move forward. So any attempt to sort of take layers off the onion, to reveal a little and then to reveal some more and then to reveal under pressure a little more still, leaves people with this endless feeling that there's more to learn.
Right.
So as fast as possible, you have to get to the bottom of the barrel. And make
Peel the onion, chop it up.
Yeah,
really.
Don't peel it, chop it up.
Chop it up.
And there'll be some tears.
Yes.
But, that's an essential part of the whole thing. You've got to feel that you are talking about the truth. And you've also got to create the feeling that it's a shared problem, that it is not about me blaming you. It's about us understanding what's happened to us as a couple and then asking questions about why. Because unless you're with a total rogue who's going to do this endlessly every 6 months, sooner you get out of that, the better.
The better. And then again, that means you're just a sucker for punishment if you're still staying and they're showing you who they are.
It means really that you should never have been there in the first place.
Right.
That you made some serious mistakes in your dating process.
Yeah.
And if you have had 2 or 3 suspicions and then a couple of caught him at it, seriously, it's going to stay that way for the rest of your life. And so you've got a decision to make.
Yes.
But in the vast majority of cases, people cheat once. And having cheated, the couple realize why that happened and they put it right. And classic examples are, I don't tell my wife the truth because every time I start to tell her something, she bites my head off. So instead, I tell it to the girl in the desk next door at work, and the affair starts. So you've got to, both of you, recognize the mistakes in the relationship that need putting right, like not biting each other's head off, like spending lots of time together. If you're not spending time together, things are going to go wrong. Do you know one of the simplest and most obvious things that you must do in a relationship? Go to bed at the same time, together.
Wow.
Just simply do that. Have an agreed bedtime and stick to it. Okay, there'll be the odd night, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It should not be a habit that one of you goes to bed and the other one turns up 3 hours later. If you just have that one change, that one idea about communicating honestly, and going to bed at the same time, chances are people won't have an affair.
All right. I've got to put something on the table. There was this big album that was released, and it was called Lemonade.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of people had opinions about what Beyonce had done and whether, her relationship, what was going on and what was she doing, and was it right to put things like that on the table? Whether or not he cheated, was that something that she would have wanted to overshadow her marriage? Which brings me to, as you're resolving your problems as a couple, is it one of those things where you walk around going, I've got hot sauce in my bag, he cheated on me, he did this, he that, or she that? If you're going to walk forward together, talking about what has happened publicly, a do or a don't?
Essentially, it's a don't. I mean, there will be some people who do know, like the other party.
Yeah.
But in general, you shouldn't tell anybody. It's very common for people to tell their girlfriends, their mates, their family, to involve the pastor and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's never a good idea. If the couple can, they should try and just keep it between themselves. They can talk to professionals. I mean, the pastor is on the cusp of that, In theory, the pastor doesn't tell a soul.
Yes. But not all of them do.
I'm afraid. So people like psychologists and lawyers are sworn to secrecy, so those are the people you talk to if you must talk to someone else. But it's best, really, if you can just resolve it between the two of you.
And it's possible to resolve it. Your relationship can survive an affair.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, if you see surveys in things like Cosmopolitan, they have a tendency to say that the biggest single cause of relationships ending is an affair. That's not true. A lot of people put down infidelity on the divorce papers because you have to.
You have to say something.
Yeah, you have to say something.
Can say
but if you look at what relationships really end for, it's loneliness, it's neglect, the very things that cause affairs.
Okay, so it is possible to survive.
As
we close, Doctor, we could talk about affairs forever, but something tells me with our heart to heart, we'll be coming back to this one and again and again. It's true, and again. But as we close, I think this is more of, I think it's a difficult question, but I'm going to throw it to you anyway. How long does it take before things are better in a relationship after an affair?
That's a very interesting question. A lot of couples, it's very quick. They suddenly realize what was wrong, like the lack of honesty. They are being completely honest. There's a lot of empathy and a lot of, shall we say, it's an unfashionable word, but there's a lot of forgiveness. There's forgiveness both ways. In other words, you don't only forgive the person who had the affair, but you forgive the innocent party for the bad habits that were involved in it. When that happens, it can be all done and dusted in a matter of 2 or 3 months.
Oh, good.
But I have known couples still be warring about it 2 years later. Obviously, if that's going to happen, then the chances of them getting past it are a bit slim.
Okay, and then it goes back to why are you even in this relationship in the first place if you won't be able to do this one big, old-fashioned but very crucial thing, forgive. If you can't get past it, don't sit in it. You're not going to get better because of it. Thank you very much, good doctor. Remember, you can reach him, whatever the issues of the heart may be. Do send us a message to my inbox on my Facebook page. There is that Facebook address on your screen now. Post it to me. I'll be very happy to share it with Dr. Hart, and we can sit down and have another heart-to-heart with Dr. Hart. We release you now, but remember to subscribe to my channel and tell a friend and tell another friend. We look forward to catching up with you again right here at Westwood Hotel. Until then, live out loud no matter where you are and where you go.